Hello.
Ragazzi, Martini,
Hello.
buonasera. Hello, hello, hello,
Oh,
hello.
what did you do? You have a new haircut.
I have a new year. I see a new haircut, new background. You see, I'm on the moon and I'm looking at you on the earth.
Oh,
You look wonderful, as always.
you have
Wow.
How are
always
you
been above
guys?
us.
How are you?
All good, and you?
Yes, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. A little bit cold here in Italy. Can you imagine cold in Italy? It's completely
How
nonsense.
cold?
Same everywhere.
It's fresh, fresh,
But
not bad.
in the chat, Tilak from Melbourne says that good morning from Melbourne, 35 degrees Celsius today.
Mamma mia!
Let's go
It's
there.
just the opposite.
Why don't we go there?
Wow!
Let's just go there.
Wow.
For 2-3
You
Hey,
months.
of course, yeah.
you know what's the dream? To live in eternal summer.
Yeah.
Like from May till October in Greece, and then
Uh-huh.
you go to the Caribbean or you go
friends.
to Australia. Enzo,
Oh, here we
Enzo.
are. Here we are. Our
Here we
guest,
are.
Enzo,
Enzo.
great to see you.
Sorry for the
Enzo.
delay. How are you guys?
And
Very good.
very
Very
good. How are
good.
you?
Very
Fine,
good.
thanks. You
Well,
are in the dark,
Enzo.
Emilius.
Yeah, yeah.
Enzo.
Jeff is on a planet.
Jeb is on the
Yes,
planet.
I'm on the planet.
He's
And
I'm on
I
the
on the
moon.
am,
moon.
I'm on the moon.
and I am in
But
hell. I am
listen,
in hell.
listen.
Yeah. Why?
Enzo,
No.
by far, among us, by far, is living in the coldest place.
Yeah, yeah,
Udine.
yeah,
Come
yeah,
on, Udine is still cold.
yeah,
How
And you
yeah.
are
cold?
It's
not
How
very
cold is
cold.
cold.
it?
I
Yeah,
was in
based
Dubai
on
till
your
this morning, and it's very, very
there?
cold. Yeah.
yes, based on your skin type, you are not used to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Very good.
hello to Riga, hello to Melbourne, Romania, Brazil, Turkey, Austria, London, Cheltenham, France, Serbia, New Zealand, Reggio Emilia, Parma, France, Argentina, Hungary, Trento, Turkey, Libya, Verona, Estonia, France, Yerevan, Beirut,
No, but
Madrid,
Joanna,
Around the world.
Peru, Ecuador.
Buenos Aires, Greece, Turkey, Greece, Chicago,
Joanna is in
Pristina.
Chicago. Chicago has minus 25 Celsius.
Jesus.
Really?
Wow.
That's really cold. Not
Nearly
Italy
like
cold.
Udine,
That's really cold.
Konstantinos.
Oh my goodness.
Azerbaijan, Ecuador. Did we ever have Ecuador? Come on, I
Ecuador.
mean, it's
It's
great.
first time.
I will start creating the map again. It's really
But how is the
everywhere.
Yes,
weather
yes.
in Ecuador?
Ukraine, Sweden, New Zealand, Colombia. Oh my God. Poland, Ireland. Yeah, fantastic. Germany. Cape
Libya,
Town.
France, everything.
Cape
Fantastic,
Town
fantastic.
also. And so all these
Oh,
people are here for
oh,
you. Can you
I
imagine?
don't know. I don't know because they are not supposed to know that I was here, right? I don't think it's for me.
Of course,
yes, but
they know
they
everything.
smell it. They smell it. They smell it.
Ah, okay.
Bene, bene, bene. But Sebbi, can you propose the question of the week before we start the interview with Enzo? Because today we will speak about
Which is the
rash,
easiest
which is
disease to diagnose with dermoscopy? Lichen planus, psoriasis, scabies, pleva, all are easy.
all easy.
Well, some are
Well,
more easy than others.
Yeah.
can you imagine Enzo? That's why we invited Enzo because he's a world expert in inflammoscopy and dermoscopy for infectious diseases and so on. He's working with a lot of Asian people on a lot of very strange diseases. He can make a difference. For example, if you see brown spots on the face, he can tell you there are 5, 6 possibilities. It's not only asthma.
Unbelievable.
Of course there are. Look at the answers. So the most voted answer was scabies. Second most voted answer was everything is easy. But I strongly have feelings for the 2% of the people that voted that pleva is the easiest one to diagnose.
By far the easiest.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
let's start the interview. Who starts? Who starts?
I'm ready.
Emilio, go.
Me.
Emilio, go.
Okay. Enzo, my question to you is the following. I just searched for you on PubMed, not on any suspicious site, just PubMed, and I found that you have 242 publications on PubMed. Are you crazy?
But by far less than you, much less than you. So if I'm crazy, you are much than crazy. So
No,
much
no,
more
the
than
question is
me.
how many you want to reach. No, that's not the question. The question is, can you recall quickly the one paper that was the most difficult for you to publish? I mean, that you were struggling, and then it was almost impossible, and the easiest one, the two extremes.
I have to be honest. I would like to start with the easiest one
Yeah, go this.
because you told me, and so we will never publish this paper in British Journal Dermatology. Do you remember?
Yeah,
But we sent it, and we got the acceptance, I think, within 2 weeks, and it was the most important paper.
the consensus
Okay.
paper. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the consensus paper on inflammatory diseases that we did I think, nearly 10 years ago. And I remember the precise moment when me and Emilius decided the criteria that we have to follow, of course, based on a very extensive search of the literature. And, he was very negative. But, I told
No,
him,
I was not negative.
come on, you were negative, my friend. You told me, okay, let's try, but I don't think you're gonna publish this article in the British Journal Dermatology. So that was the easiest actually, and the most important because that was the base of all inflammoscopy and
Yeah.
all the papers that we published afterwards. The most difficult was, I think, at the beginning. I don't remember the precise one because I had a lot of difficulties at the beginning because
Yeah.
I used to receive the following comment from the review. The diagnosis is only clinical and inflammatory dermatosis cannot be diagnosed by dermoscopy. That was the comment of all the reviews. And it was crazy because now I think that all those reviews are using dermoscopy also for inflammatory conditions. Okay, it doesn't replace, of course, clinical examination, but it's something more. Okay, it's another piece of the puzzle that we have.
Yeah. You're perfectly right. That in that era, it was. I mean, we were struggling. I mean, for this reason precisely that Enzo said, not because of the papers that were good or bad, but
No,
because
no,
the
no.
idea of using dermoscopy for inflammatory diseases was so. I mean, innovative. Let's say at that moment, so brand new that was not easy to accept
Yeah.
as an idea.
But I think
Wonderful.
it's
Okay.
the same also for tumors, no, Jeppe, at the
Yeah,
beginning.
20
Of course.
years earlier. Yeah.
30 years ago, it was the same. Yeah, 30 years ago, it was the same for tumors. Yeah. But of course, I mean, new things are always seen in a little bit suspicious, by traditional people.
So
Anyhow,
now, Jeppy, that you are also becoming old and me too, you're becoming reluctant to accept, I mean, the new things. For example, you don't like the blue lights, the
exactly,
orange lights, you
exactly.
don't like all
High
the stuff.
magnification,
High
high
magnification.
magnification, all this stuff. I say, come on. Yeah. We have a saying. We say that we all are born as let's say revolutionary fire lovers, and then we end up to be fire workers, fire shooters.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Next.
Nisa, go ahead.
Okay, Enzo, I have two questions. One is from dermatology, the other one is we will see. So start for the first one. Which one you like more? In inflammoscopy, UV dermatoscopy or conventional dermatoscopy? And the other one is, how do you manage to stay so young and handsome?
Oh,
A fat
Less
photo.
handsome than Geppi and Emilius and Constantinos. Anyway.
Definitely not. My question would be that. How do you stay so fucking fresh? I'm so jealous of you.
No, 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 come on.
Because
But I will
he
tell you the
drinks less than
secret.
you. He drinks less than you, Costantino.
Hmm? Yeah.
Anyway,
He drinks less than you.
Well, and he doesn't smoke. Also helps.
yeah, yeah, of course, of course. I don't smoke. But the first question, thank you very much, Nisa, because it's very important because the UV light is becoming, let's say, part of our assessment. I, of course, like a classic dermoscopy, polarized dermoscopy, let's say, because, it's the part of dermoscopy in which we know most, okay? And it's very helpful. But I think that sometimes, not in all cases, of course, because UV dermoscopy relies on the production of chromophores, it may be helpful, especially for infectious diseases, because bacteria and other, infectious organisms may produce these substances, and sometimes we cannot see anything basically on classic dermoscopy, but thanks to UV dermoscopy, we may appreciate these very wonderful colors. I think about Pseudomonas. If we have an infection due to Pseudomonas, we don't see anything on conventional dermoscopy, but we can see green on UV dermoscopy. So it's very helpful, I think, and it's very fun because you see these colors and it's like art. Okay, dermoscopy is already art, but UV dermoscopy with the colors is more, okay. But of course, we have to couple with classic dermoscopy. And the second question is the most difficult. I don't know, maybe because I raced with Geppi, okay, and his enthusiasm, makes everyone young and younger. So I remember when I was a resident and Geppi didn't know anything about me, okay, because I was on the in another building in which Geppi was not, so welcome,
I was not
unfortunately.
welcome. I was not welcome.
Unfortunately for me, and but starting from that, I always followed Geppi, and he kept me young.
that's so sweet. I mean,
Yeah,
Jeremy,
it's
he
true.
said that he remains young because he grew up with you. I mean, that's
Because
Yeah,
of
yeah,
love.
one
yeah.
of the
He
best.
remains young because of love. That's the secret.
Because
What,
of love.
what I was
Yeah.
going to
Excellent.
say is that you have a good wife. This is the answer.
Okay,
Go ahead,
next.
Costantino. Costantino, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I asked my question. He answered it. Great.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was scared by
So,
Costantino, so okay.
By me? No, I love you so much.
No.
yeah.
Jeppy.
No, no, but so my question is really referred by to is referred to your last sentences, and I would like to ask you in order to let everybody know why you, as a southern Italian guy,
Yeah.
decided to leave Udine.
You know,
And you hurt his feelings now.
yeah, you can
You
feel also
abandoned you
my
abandoned
feelings.
Napoli and you are in Udine. That's
Yeah, yeah.
unacceptable. Yeah.
Sometimes, I here in Udine, of course, I stay very well, but sometimes I miss the south of Italy, and now I'm fine. But at the beginning, I had to move to the north, and because unfortunately, Jeppy was not the head of the department, so I have to admit now, after many, many years, that I had to move. Okay, if I was born, later, a little bit later, maybe I could stay with Jeppy. Now I would be in Naples. But I don't like this, dynamics. And now I think that Jeppy is doing a very, very great job. And I envy Jeppy because he has a great team, and we have to credit him for this. So and it's not because I'm here, but I have to say that Jeppy is a great person, besides being a great teacher and mentor. But it was another time, and I had to move to the north.
Yeah. Let's say Enzo is one of the best examples of the brains going away from the difficult geographical areas of our countries. So this
But he
great
didn't go
example.
away. He's still in Italy, Joby. Don't behave like this. I mean.
Yes,
More or less,
yes.
more or less.
Udine, come on, Udine. So
I'm on
Italy
the
is very long.
border,
Where is Udine?
Italy is very long. Udine is
nearly,
like
nearly Austria.
really, yeah. It's basically Austria. Yeah.
But you have to know that they have a different language, which is Friulano, okay?
Yes.
Which is very nice.
Yes.
But after many, many years, 15 years, I don't know a word actually. But I'm trying to improve this.
Okay, wonderful. So now that we learned that JP is responsible for all the good and the bad things that happened in Enzo's life, let's go with, with the main topic. Nisa. Nisa is in charge of the main presentation today. And we are in charge, and you, my friend Enzo, of commenting and discussing on what Nisa is going to show.
Guys, there are a lot of slides, so just let me know when I should finish and say stop, Nisa.
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Okay, just 10 minutes?
15.
Okay.
15.
So these are the publications that I've looked, and you see that in most of them, Enzo is the author. And these are the books which are great, really. And I really advise these things. And now, we all know that dermatoscopic finding is very useful in Grover's disease and Darier's disease. And since they have the same histopathology, acantholytic dyskeratosis, they have the same dermatoscopic features. And here, there's a nice example of feature that we see. You see that there are yellowish part and also erythematous background, and there are some follicular openings. Actually, I didn't recognize this feature previously before this publication, and here you can see it is much more visible in UV dermatoscopy and in sub-UV mode. Here you can see the feature, and this feature is also evident in the erythematous background at the periphery. So we can use UV dermatoscopy, sub-UV mode, and conventional dermatoscopy if we have a suspicion for Grover's disease or Darier's disease. The differentiation is just based on the clinical features in these entities. And this is an eccrine duct ostia. And according to the authors, Grover's disease may begin at or involve acrosyringia. And these pale microcycles of eccrine duct openings were detected either within the central scale or peripheral inflammatory area. And this is a case of Darrier disease from my practice. And we will see how dermatoscopy is very useful in this entity. Here we have central yellow or brown star-like area, and there is a whitish halo around it, which is very typical for the disease. And with this dermatoscopy, this is another entity. It's very easy, actually, clinically, but when you combine dermatoscopic features, we can easily say that this is a case of lichen nidus, right? Previously, I didn't recognize these brown structures in lichen nidus. As you can see in the UV mode, these brown structures are not visible. So histopathologically, we know that in lichen nidus, there's a lymphocytic infiltrate, And in epidermis, it's acanthotic, but sometimes it's very narrow, very thin. And these lymphocytic infiltrate is located under this atrophic epidermis, as you can see. And according to the authors, these white structures are due to this lymphocytic infiltrate, and the central brownish part is not due to melanin. Because if they were due to melanin, we should see these structures in UV mode as brown central dots, because we know that melanin absorbs this pigmentation, so central part should be brownish. Since it's not brownish, we can consider that they are all lymphocytic infiltrates, and this is a very recent publication, and the authors renamed this entity as lymphocytic UV autofluorescence, and this optical phenomenon is very characteristic for lichen nidus. Now, my question to you guys, what do you think for these white structures? A case of lichen nidus or something else? What's your clinical impression?
KBs.
Milia or something like that? Here is a close-up.
Ah.
And here's the dermatoscopy. We have a lot of four-dot clots, rosettes, everywhere. You see?
Yeah.
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 And
It looks
what
like
does it look like?
molluscum. It looks like molluscum,
Molluscum, yeah, it's an amazing, crazy case, isn't it?
Yeah.
They are all molluscum contagiosum, eruptive
Yes.
molluscum contagiosum in an immunosuppressed patient. He was under azathioprine therapy, and everywhere were these lesions are all molluscum contagiosum. So dermatoscopy is very useful, and this is a very typical case of molluscum. And here you can see all these four-dot clots and white circle-like features, which are molluscum bodies. And in UV dermatoscopy, they are very characteristic. As Enzo mentioned, in inflammatory diseases, these structures are much more visible in UV dermatoscopy. And this is a very recent case from the literature, a skin of color patient, and you see the conventional dermatoscopy, and this is UV dermatoscopy. What's your impression on this case?
PRP, it looks like follicular lesions. So
Yeah, there are, looks like follicular hyperkeratosis, right? Because they are much more visible in UV dermatoscopy. And there's a great metaphor here. The authors called these structures as straggler stars. I didn't know what was this previously, and just I look at internet and see that these blue stragglers form when one star cannibalizes a neighbor and sucking down its mass onto its own, and we see these features. And it was a case of pityriasis rubra pilaris, because we know that there's follicular hyperkeratosis in pityriasis rubra pilaris, and they call this as a straggler star sign. I think it's a great metaphor. And here authors showed a feature from NASA, galaxy evolution, and here's the feature.
Nisa, I had the impression that you don't like metaphors so much, but probably I'm wrong.
Yeah, but have you ever heard about straggler sign, star sign previously?
now we know what
no.
it means, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a star cannibalize a neighbor star, and now it's much more brighter.
Yeah.
So, but since you showed this case, and maybe Enzo, you want to comment because you have worked a lot on skin of color.
Yeah.
PRP is substantially different in white skin, no?
Yeah, of course, it's completely different. Honestly, I hate, metaphoric terminologies because it's confusing. Come on. Here it's very simple. We have follicular lesions, okay? We have follicular hyperkeratosis. They are equidistant, so it's easy to understand that they are follicular lesions. But of course, UV dermoscopy, sometimes, especially in skin of color, in which maybe the follicular hyperkeratosis maybe not white, but a little bit brown, so it may be not so visible. UV dermoscopy may be helpful, of course, because keratin is much more visible. Also, for example, in porokeratosis, I don't know if you have porokeratosis, Nisa,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
okay, so I won't say anything. But you know, keratin is much more visible. But we should avoid, come on, all these metaphors because otherwise it's very confusing.
Yeah,
We have
but
to keep things easy.
yeah, but remember your early stage. I mean, when you were starting, people when they are young, they want to describe something new and they
Yeah, of course.
want to give a name. Yeah, it's
The
Yeah,
point,
we
the point
said we
is
said a
that,
lot of crap, Emilius. Okay, I agree. Me too. Me too.
but the point here is that pityriasis rubra-pilaris is extremely difficult to diagnose, even histopathologically. So the point is that this is this a sign that we can see in PRP also in white skin, or
Yeah. Of course, you will see follicular
yeah,
hyperkeratosis. Usually, in
yeah.
not always, I have to say. Sometimes you have a yellowish halo, okay, or orange halo around the follicle because we have hemosiderin. But you know, I would combine the clinical findings with dermoscopy. Here we have sparing areas, the islands of sparing skin. This combined with follicular lesions evident on UV, okay, we can think about PRP. Basically, before I made the diagnosis, mainly on clinical ground, but you know, with also the help of UV dermoscopy showing follicular lesions, okay, follicular plugs, it's easier. But we have to combine them. It's not specific.
Of course,
Nearly
of
nothing is
course.
specific in inflammatory conditions. We have to combine it with clinical examination.
And there's also a nice paper published by Zoe Appala, and you can see that it's really very helpful to diagnose this reactive perforon collagenoses because on dermatoscopy we have a central yellowish crust and there's a whitish halo around this yellowish part and erythema and vascular structures, which is quite typical for this entity. And here are the dermatoscopic features of reactive perforon collagenoses, and the authors named this as three-zoned concentric pattern. And this is an illustration for this pattern: yellow part, white circle around, and inflammatory reaction, and some sort of vessels around.
But Emilio,
Now,
this is a recurrent pattern. This yellow, white, and red in all perforating stuff, right?
in
All
most of
perforating.
them. Yeah. In most of them, yeah.
yeah. And there are a lot of features here, a lot of lesions with the same morphology and dermatoscopy. And now it's easy, I think, clinically, but dermatoscopically, we see brown polygonal structures looking like a mosaic or something else. But UV dermatoscopy is again very helpful. You can see the features much more clearly here. So what is your diagnosis? An easy one. Terra, Sierra, dermatosis. Another case with same features. Yeah. So this is the paper. UV dermatoscopic findings were first described. And we will go very fastly. In psoriasis, we have a white tick scale, but in eczema, the color is yellow because of spongiosis. And here you can see the differences. Without dermatoscopy, I think it is very difficult to decide which one is psoriasis or eczema. And here you can see the difference very clearly. And in acral lesions, we know that especially in tinea pedis or tinea manum, white scales are generally in the skin furrows because these parts are more humid. And here you can see a tinea pedis. And here another tinea pedis. Scales are following the skin furrows. Here's the close-up. And there's an erythematous plaques on the arm of a lady. And what's your diagnosis? For example, if the dermatoscopy was the first one, we will say that it's a typical psoriasis. But if the dermatoscopy was the second one, then we will say it's an eczema because of spongiosis and vesicles. and the dermatoscopy was the second one. So our diagnosis is easy, and we can easily say that this is a case of eczema. And also, dermatoscopy is very helpful in tinea versicolor, because the same thing happens here also, again, like tinea pedis, because scales are following the skin furrows, and here you can see skin creases, in other words. And in UV dermatoscopy, again, it's much more visible. And due to the production of pityrilinactone by Malassezia species, sometimes a yellowish-green coloration can be observed during UV dermatoscopy. Another case of tinea versicolor, you can see that scales are following the skin creases again, easy diagnosis, but dermatoscopy is really very helpful. And this is a case of tinea corporis, because we have border activation. And with UV dermatoscopy, we see a greenish fluorescence, which is basically due to the pteridine produced by microsporum species. And you can understand the species when looking at when looking with UV dermatoscopy, because of this green fluorescence. In tinea, in trichophyton species, we don't see this green coloration in tinea corporis.
Nice, that's nice.
Now, this is a case of psoriasis, but we know that, yes, conventional dermatoscopy is very helpful because of these white multifocal scales and dotted vessels, but UV dermatoscopy is also very helpful, because I'm show you the video. It's very interesting. First, we start with white scales, but it's turning to reddish color later. Due to coproporphyrin production by psoriasis. Here you can see again, once again, the erythema. And again, a case of psoriasis with reddish fluorescence in UV dermatoscopy. It's
So
very
this is
typical.
extremely nice. Extremely nice.
Yeah.
Psoriasis can be red. What other
Yeah.
lesions can be red? What other lesions can be red?
Actually, when there is a lot of epidermal hyperproliferation, coproporphyrin synthesis is increased. For example, sometimes in basal cell carcinoma or squamous cell carcinoma, we can expect. Actually, I just observed this in squamous cell carcinoma, not in basal cell carcinoma, but also coproporphyrin production, the increased production of coproporphyrin was also detected in biochemically in psoriasis lesions, and especially with lesions whose PASI score is really very high. For example, this is another case. Dermatoscopy shows white lines, so we can guess that this is a Wickham striae. So this is a case of lichen planus. And with UV dermatoscopy, there is no fluorescence. No fluorescence.
Yeah.
So we may conclude that active proliferating cells showed increased red fluorescence, where keratinocyte proliferation is increased. This is quite interesting case because there was a thick scale on the scalp, a solitary lesion. There was nothing else on the scalp. And dermatoscopy shows elongated looped vessels, coiled vessels. When I remove the scale, as you can see here, very atypical vessels, coiled, elongated, flower-like. But UV dermatoscopy showed that there's a red fluorescence here. Then I would like to examine the patient and saw that there are two papular lesions on the back. And I remove the scale and see that same vessel morphology is here also. And with UV dermatoscopy, there is red fluorescence. And I gave topical steroid. And this is 1 week later, they all lost. So we may conclude that these all lesions are also psoriasis. Have you ever seen a vessel morphology in psoriasis previously, other than dotted or coiled vessels? I think it's an interesting case, and I can diagnose it with UV dermatoscopy. And now,
Brilliant.
Emilio's favorite topic. Pityriasis lichenoides chronica, and this is a case of Enzo. And Enzo showed that in pityriasis lichenoides chronica, especially in fair skin types, there is an orange background, and at the periphery, there are out of focus vessels, linear vessels, and sometimes dotted vessels. And this is this orange background is a result of erythrocyte extravasation and dermal hemosiderin accumulation, and also dilated dermal vessels are the non-dotted vessels are the result of these dilated dermal vessels. And lichen planus is easy because we have Wickham stria. There are a lot of forms of Wickham stria. As you can see, they're all Wickham stria, Wickham stria. And now this is a case of lichen planus, and it's very easy with dermatoscopy. They're all Wickham stria. And this is the lip.
Nisa, maybe
And
we
this
can,
is it.
maybe we can, since you showed this case of pityriasis lichenoides chronica, maybe we could ask Enzo to clarify us a little bit what we know today concerning the correspondence of the orange color. We began with the knowledge that it corresponds to granulomas. We moved on with the knowledge that it does not correspond only to granulomas, but to any kind of dense cellular infiltration. But orange color may also result from the presence of hemosiderin in the dermis. So how can we wrap it up and how can we discriminate if the correspondence is this or that?
Yeah, of course. You said very well, Emilius. At the beginning, we thought that just sarcoidosis, basically other granulomatous conditions may might display this color. So as Emilio said, or hemosiderin deposits, okay, orange, or compact cellular infiltrates. We call this phenomenon mass effect because we have this mass and then we have orange. We can differentiate them, this group of the conditions, according to the vessel's sharpness. If the vessels are sharp in focus, okay, we have to think about the mass effect. So granulomatous conditions, lymphomas, and so on. If they are blurred, like in this case that Nisa showed, we have to think about conditions typified by hemosiderin deposits. So we have to evaluate the vessels, basically.
That's a good clue. Nice clue.
So, according to this dermatoscopic finding that we see Wickham striae, we can say that this is an active disease, even though the lesions look like post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. But in the late stages of lichen planus, this is a typical pattern. We observe just black or gray dots, which are actually melanophages. There's no Wickham stria in these lesions, and this is the late phase of lichen planus. But interestingly, the lips are still active because we have a lot of Wickham stria on the lips here. So there is a lesion here, and we may conclude that this is a typical case of lichen planus because of this Wickham striae. And now, what's your clinical impression, my dear friends, with this solitary lesion?
Come on, it's okay. Easy.
Tomorrow.
Now it's easy.
It's very easy because we have this double keratotic rim and follicular plaques. But with sub-UV mode, it's really very beautiful, and follicular plaques are very obvious, and dotted vessels as well. And in UV mode, this is the UV mode. Again, we have this follicular plaque and double keratotic rim. So in porokeratosis cases, these UV and sub-UV modes are really very helpful to see these double keratotic rim. Now, according to this clinical morphology, is it easy to diagnose these entities? For example, for the first one, what do you think it is? For the second one, what do you think it is? I think it's difficult. We need dermatoscopy, but with dermatoscopy, the first one is typical psoriasis because we have dotted vessels. And for the second one, I showed you a very similar example of this case, since there is central orange part and unfocused peripheral vessels, we can conclude that this is a typical case of pityriasis lichenoides chronica. So dermatoscopy is really very helpful. Another case, for the first one, what do you think it is? And for the second one, I think it's again a bit difficult. With dermatoscopy, it is easy because we have Wickham striae, and with dermatoscopy, again, it's very easy because this is a typical porokeratosis. Now, two cases again. Let's see dermatoscopy, typical psoriasis with dotted vessels and scale. So with dermatoscopy, it's easy. And the second one is pityriasis rosea. We have collarette scale. And in pityriasis rosea, there is no vessel morphology, no coloration, just peripheral collarette scale. So this is helpful in the diagnosis because we know that peripheral scaling is not always, does not always mean pityriasis rosea. In psoriasis or in tinea corporis, we also confront this finding. In psoriasis, we have for sure dotted vessels. In tinea corporis, generally the vessels are around these collarette scale, and hairs are broken, and sometimes these scale are present as peripheral indented collarette because fungus is here and eating the keratin. So the inner side is indented and the outside is more straight. This is also helpful. And broken hairs are also helpful in tinea corporis. So this is again Emilio's favorite dermatoscopy.
Nisa, maybe you present the last case because otherwise we will be too
okay.
Too late.
So maybe I think it's better to finish with this one because Emilios was talking about this.
Yes,
clinically, the diagnosis can be made here clinically because it's a, I think we may consider here pleva, right? Because there are hemorrhagic papules, which is quite characteristic for pleva. And let's look at with dermatoscopy. Yes, the color is purplish erythema. And at the center of the lesion, there's a scale with blood.
Yeah.
And another morphology. Yeah, and like the authors call this pattern as target-like scale. But we have again blood at the center and at the periphery, erythema and some dotted vessels. So clinical morphology can be combined with dermatoscopy in pleva, but I think dermatoscopy is much more helpful in pityriasis lichenoides chronica because the color is very characteristic. So we may consider dermatoscopy for sure, but I don't think it's very helpful in pleva in these cases.
Brava, Nisa.
Wonderful.
Brava.
Very
wonderful
good.
cases. Wonderful cases.
Excellent.
Very good.
We covered just a small piece. Piece. So,
I see that you have material for a new episode.
Guys, can I show you one more case, last case, because this is very interesting.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
What do you think it is with clinically?
Lichen.
Yeah,
Any
or
guess?
Darrier. Or Darrier.
Yeah.
Or Darrier. Yeah.
So with dermatoscopy, what do you think?
It's not Darrier.
Mastocytosis, but it would be
mastocytosis. Yeah,
because
this is a case of mastocytosis with reticular lines. So dermatoscopy is really very helpful, right? With these brown reticular lines, this is a typical case of mastocytosis.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Very
Brava,
good.
Nisa.
Very good, Nisa.
Fantastic.
So, Enzo, to conclude this nice discussion, first of all, if you want to do any comment on the cases shown by Nisa, and then I will want to ask you something final.
Yeah. Nisa showed all these cases, and all of them were very interesting, informative.
Yep.
We lost
Enzo.
Enzo.
We lost
Enzo.
him. We lost him. By the way, really, I mean, I see that you have Nisa material for another episode, maybe not the next one, but
Yeah.
one of the next
Yeah, there
one.
are a lot of beautiful cases, very, very nice
Yeah, yeah,
cases.
yeah. So
Because the facial pigmented lesions, granulomatous lesions.
yeah, yeah,
Now,
wonderful.
definitely, there is so much information coming out from dermoscopy, and I have to admit, I have to start studying UV light dermoscopy. What should I do?
Yeah, Jeff, it's really
Okay,
amazing. I
okay.
like UV
But
dermatoscopy,
you
Here is
got my
Enzo.
UV
point.
dermatoscopy.
Here is Enzo.
Yeah.
I
Here
had
is
very
Enzo.
great cases of
Enzo,
scabies.
Tell me.
we lost you, so but you are back now, so
Yeah.
so go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying that we have to combine with clinical examination, and we have to pay attention to some pitfalls because I was talking about Wickham's 3. We also have pseudo Wickham's 3 due to just to fibrosis. We may differentiate this, Wickham's 3 from pseudo Wickham's 3, but there are other pitfalls. But in general, we have to know the stuff that Nisa displayed. We just have to pay attention a little bit and rely, first of all, on clinical ground, and then, of course, dermoscopy.
You already mentioned a little bit of what I wanted to ask you. If you can think of some scenario that dermoscopy might guide us to the completely wrong direction, and if we are blindly based on this, we might fall on a trap. You already mentioned one, maybe.
Absolutely. Of course, there are many traps, and also psoriasis, for example. In all conditions, scratched conditions, we have hyperplasia, epidermal hyperplasia, psoriasiform epidermal hyperplasia, and we may see dotted vessels. So we have to integrate dermoscopy with clinical ground, and we have to know something of histology. I think it's a fun way to refresh histology, to use dermoscopy, and we have to have concordance between among clinical examination, dermoscopy, and histology. So if there is something wrong, okay, we don't have this concordance, we have to think that maybe we are on the wrong, track.
There is another practical question in the chat. Let's take it. Why not? What is, in your opinion, the most effective treatment for pityriasis lichenoides chronica? Because for acute, okay, for chronic
Acid retinal.
retinoids.
Yeah, retinoids are the best ones. I use also sometimes methotrexate, sometimes NBUVB, but in children, sometimes we can use also macrolides, but retinoids and methotrexate, I think they're the best options.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But did I tell you? I told you in a previous episode, but Enzo was not here. I concluded which is for me the most difficult disease to treat.
Which one?
Which one?
We can do nothing. It's lupus miliaris.
Maybe,
Well,
maybe.
yeah. Oh, hopefully it's quite rare, so we are very rarely confronting with this disease.
It is rare, but if you are the patient that suffers from this, you don't care about how rare it is. You know that.
Actually,
Wonderful. Enzo, thank you so much for being with us. Really,
Thank you.
thank you, Enzo.
Thank
Enzo,
you, my friends.
so excited,
And,
Enzo, to present these cases in front of you.
And so
No.
we invite you already from today for the next time that we will do the rest of the cases that Nisa
Of
prepared.
course, of course.
So
Okay, for sure. There are
It
a
would
lot
be a
of cases,
pleasure.
nice cases. Thank you, Enzo.
Thank you
wonderful.
very
thanks
much,
a
my
lot.
friends. Thank
Have a
you.
nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye.
Bye, my friend.
Sebastiano. Wonderful. Now it's time for our two other guests, two fixed guests. I start. Do I start?
As you like.
Yes, I start with the marvelous three cases from Daria. Impressive cases, really in line with what we are talking about today. Patient number 1, having this small plaque on the leg. What is your clinical diagnosis?
Bowel, eczema.
Eczema, or well, yeah,
Bones or eczema.
yeah. And this is what you can see dermoscopically, video dermoscopy.
Lichenitis. Lichenitis.
Lichenitis.
Yes, in my view, this is definitely the correct diagnosis. This is a beautiful example. Capillaritis or pigmented purpuric dermatitis, including many entities, right? But they all belong to the same family. Good. Patient number 2, clinical diagnosis. Not so
Lichen.
easy, let me tell you.
Psoriasis.
Lichen, psoriasis.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe eczema, a little, not so much, but look how beautiful is this.
Sarcoidosis.
Wow.
Sarcoidosis.
Wow.
Yes. These vessels are immediately excluding the possibility of lichen and psoriasis. And this is, orange color, white lines, arborizing vessels. This is sarcoidosis. Beautiful. And then patient number 3, what is this? Actinic keratosis?
No.
Or
No.
no, lupus,
Pleva or psoriasis.
Pleva or
psoriasis.
psoriasis, yeah.
Okay.
Looks like psoriasis.
Pleva, psoriasis, but not.
Psoriasis.
What?
Yeah,
Poro.
porokeratosis. Poro.
Belli, mi belli.
Poro.
Another
Close.
difficult to treat disease, by the way. Easy to diagnose, but difficult to treat. Huh?
Retinoids.
Difficult to
retinoids.
treat.
Acid-retin.
Exactly.
Acid-retin we love.
We love. If
You know-
if there is one drug that I like the most, is acitretin.
Yes,
Of
me
course,
too.
also isotretinoin for acne patients, but acitretin is still my beloved
But
drug.
for all those difficult cases, acid-retin is the answer.
Yes.
When we don't know
Because they're all
what to do.
hyperkeratinization, so
Yes,
disorders of-
whenever you have keratin, you have stratum corneum involved, then
Yeah.
acitretin is best.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Daria.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Bravo, Daria. Beautiful cases as always.
Equally beautiful are the cases of Penelope for tonight. Starting with the first one, which is this nodule, asymptomatic recent appearance on the temple. That's dermoscopy, very reddish with a few shiny things. That's non-polarized light. The shiny things disappeared. And what could this be?
Kapush orangiosarcoma. Kapush
Vascular.
orangiosarcoma.
Vascular. It's something
vascular, maybe something adnexal, sometimes also the adnexal.
Another hydroadenoma.
Yeah. So the adnexal sometimes become like this. So purple homogeneous area occupy the entire lesion with shiny lines in polarized light. Hydrocystoma.
You're right, Nisa. Eccrine hydrocystoma. Yeah. Which is the most frequent location of hydrocystoma?
Okay, easy. The eyes.
Eyelids.
The eyelids.
Eyes.
Yeah. Okay, then 83-year-old, but history of non-melanoma skin cancer. You see the lesion, it's a rather flat one, a little bit pigmented, not so much pigmented in dermoscopy. Looks like a BCC, no?
There are a lot of May globules.
Yeah.
A lot of May.
I'm not sure they're May globules.
Maybe.
Yeah, but there are also the dots here. The vessels are in line with BCC.
Yeah.
So
BCC, micronodular BCC, or infiltrative BCC, or micronodular.
that should be BCC. Yeah, that should be BCC.
Infiltrative.
Yeah,
Or
infiltrative BCC.
micronodular. Yeah,
Yeah,
reasonably
both.
speaking, that should be it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And that's what it is, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't think there is any surprise here. And in fact, I think there are probably May
May
globules.
globules.
Not
Yeah.
all of them, not all. I'm not speaking about the yellowish things. I'm speaking about here, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a BC.
Yeah, it looks like a BCC, definitely.
High risk.
May globules says also Daria.
May globules.
And blue-gray dots, of course, which is the strongest sign in my view of all. And the question that Daria does is if we ever observed May globules in superficial BCC, because there is a French study in 2023
Very rare.
said that May globules are a major dermatoscopic sign for the diagnosis of BCC, regardless of the histological subtype and their pigmentation.
This
I don't know. Yeah, same.
this
Say-
cannot this cannot be a superficial BCC because it has multiple arborizing vessels. If you think of the way a tumor grows, it needs
Yeah.
so arborizing vessels need to feed
On
the
top.
center and then diverge to feed the periphery of the lesion. So
Konstantinos, I think that the question was not about this specific case. It was generally
Yeah.
about
okay.
superficial BCC,
Generally.
because there is there is this paper that said this.
No.
So I can tell you my experience, but we spoke about it in one episode. Yeah. So
Yeah, we talked that.
in general, I don't think that it's a major criterion. I mean, I don't think it's so often. Yeah, we have. There are a few cases of superficial BCC with this kind of calcifications, but definitely it's very rare. I mean,
Yeah.
Very rare, yeah. In superficial types, it's very rare, and the number is few.
yeah.
Yeah.
For example, in aggressive subtypes, there are a lot of calcifications, but in superficial BCC, the number is just one or two, very few.
Yeah,
Less
it should be
frequent.
an
Less
extremely long-standing lesion in order to have calcifications. Because think of the pathogenesis of it. In order to calcify, for a tumor to calcify, unless it's a fast-growing tumor and then there are remnants and it creates calcifications, a superficial BC should be like 5 years old.
Yeah. But what's amazing, and I strongly believe that it's a very good clue for high risk tumors, which are these small globules, for micronodular mainly. It's amazing that this was a feature that we knew since 20 years until
And we never recognize this.
realize that this is reasonably suggestive of micronodular BCC, and I think that this works very well.
Yes.
And with UV dermatoscopy, they are very visible. For example, sometimes it's hard to differentiate if it is May or not, but when you look at with UV dermatoscopy, they are very evident.
Yeah, no, I
Also.
was speaking about the pigmented globules, the small pigmented
No,
globules.
no, I was
Speaking about
still
the May
in
globules.
May globules.
Yeah, they are much more evident. Yeah. Very good. Then the next one, 12 years old, on the sole of the foot.
Yeah. A word.
Word.
I'm laughing,
Poroma.
and
Poroma. Little poroma.
I love
Little poroma.
Penelope. I love Penelope, and I'm laughing because
Poroma.
if you remember the Kahoot last week, I showed an image which was again located on the sole, and again with these white clots. And then it was molluscum, and you were complaining a lot that it cannot be molluscum and so on. And now you have the second case by Penelope of molluscum on the sole with a similar pattern. I love you,
Come on.
Penelope.
Come on.
I did not ask
Come
for this.
on.
No, I did not
You
ask
should
for this.
publish your observation.
Penelope,
together.
let's join forces, let's unite forces, and we publish the two plantar cases of molluscum.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Crazy. It's
Interesting.
unbelievable.
And then comes the next one, which is a solitary nodule just in front of the ear lobe for 1 year, and that's an
Molluscum.
easier than the previous one, giant, we could say, or very large lesion of molluscum with
Very
a
large.
with a beautiful rosettes. rosettes, the entity in which rosettes have the highest incidence is not actinic keratosis, it's molluscum.
Yeah,
They are
it's molluscum,
Yeah.
present
definitely.
in
And Williams, can you go back to the clinical photo?
the clinical,
It,
yeah.
it pretends to be the earring.
Yes. Okay, and finally, the case for Sebastiano. It's a pigmented one. Previous history of SCC, long-standing brown lesion in the infraorbital area. That is darkened. That's
This
the
is a
one.
typical junctional nevus.
Yeah,
Typical junctional nevus.
Lentigo
100%.
maligna.
Collision. So, collision of solar lentigo and lentigo maligna.
Ah.
Okay, annular granular pattern, rhomboidal structures, dark. Seborrheic keratosis here, probably you see the milial cysts here in the upper part. And it is, of course, a lentigo maligna. Thank you, Penelope, very much. Wonderful cases. And I especially thank you for the molluscum case. Deeply appreciated. Deeply appreciated.
Now we believe in you.
Please, Happy, what do you have for us?
What do you do when you want to examine a lesion between the toes with the Delta 30 or the Delta 30 Pro? The Delta 30 Pro has a 30 millimeter view field, which is great to examine and keep a distance from the patient at the same time. But sometimes it can be hard to reach the lesion with it. So, simply take the contact plate off and scroll the small contact plate on. And here we go. Also available for the Delta 1.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Excellent.
Let's go to Kahoot, my friends.
Let me tell you that I'm very stressed after the last two times.
You should.
I'm very stressed. I mean, I have to tell you.
Guys, I have to leave you again today because of my flight back to Napoli. But please, since last time you were very, very bad, hopefully today you are much more, let's say,
Kind.
good with
I
kind.
really don't know. I really don't know. I don't trust myself anymore.
Okay,
Un bacio a
Micah,
tutti.
baci a tutti.
Have a nice flight.
Ciao, Geppi.
Baci a
Geppi.
te.
I love you. I love you. I love you all.
We love you
love
We
you
love
more.
you more.
We love you more.
Okay,
Oh,
Emilius.
I forgot to share the sound. Okay, so you have to sing, guys. You hear the sound?
No.
No. Yeah.
I just started singing.
You did well. You did well. No sound tonight. No sound. So nobody will participate tonight. No, Chin is here. Thank you. Thank you. What's happening? I have again the problem that I used to have in the past, probably.
Most
Huh?
likely. Yeah,
Most
most
likely.
likely.
Most likely. No, here they are. Here they are. Here they are. Dr.
Oh.
Lapic Passerotta. What else? What else? Serendipity. No, for sure there are more. Yeah, of course there were more. Okay, so we have 130, 160. Wow, wow. So finally, I mean, people are now much more motivated, you see? Okay, let's go. Let's go and see what happens tonight. Episode 6 of season 5 of Dermoscopy Happy Hour. Kahoot time starts now with the first case, which is this one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the clinical. this is dermoscopy,
Hmm.
and there is a very clear-cut question, no traps, just which is your diagnosis. Do you think that this is a blue nevus, seborrheic keratosis, a basal cell carcinoma, or a melanoma? And I'm really stressed now.
No, clear
No
cut.
stress.
Clear cut.
It's a clear-cut diagnosis.
That's what I thought also the last.
No, but now you have validation.
Well, it's not so clear cut,
It's not
obviously,
clear.
but at least the majority were correct. It's one of the so-called not blue nevi. Yeah, I think I don't remember if we spoke about this in the happy hour. Maybe we should, but I often speak about this. It's a blue nevus with a lot of fibrosis, so you see an intense white color, which brings terra firma UV.
No rush.
Place,
What a beautiful name.
Yeah, no rush, and 3 Ponima, which brings us
Nicknames are
now
great.
to the second case. It's on the neck. We have 2 lesions visible. That's the clinical. This is dermoscopy. And this brings us to the question. The question is again simple. Which is the diagnosis? And the options are eczema, sarcoidosis, discoid lupus, or lymphoma. Should I be stressed, guys?
Yes.
No, there are 2 differentials here for me.
There are 2. This is the
There are
problem.
2.
2.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see what happens. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Great.
Relieved. Okay. Which was the second differential that you thought?
Lymphoma, because of the follicular plaques. Lymphoma or DLE for me.
Yeah. But I mean, the plugging
The
is
plague helps those.
strong clue
B-cell
for
lymphoma
lupus.
or reactive
Yeah.
lymphoid hyperplasia. They have
Yeah,
both
but
plaques.
that would be less probable, I would say.
Yes.
The most reasonable thought. There are also the vessels that are in line, a little bit of fibrosis, which is in line, follicular plugs. So
Yeah.
The only thing interesting for DLE is it's not a sun-exposed area under the neck.
okay, that's why it was a little bit tricky.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, what happened here is that terra firma is still first, MCA and no rush, which brings us to the case number 3. Case number 3 is this one. That's the clinical aspect. This is dermoscopy.
Easy one.
And the options here are morphea for basal cell carcinoma, lichen sclerosus, morphea, or atrophic dermatofibrosarcoma protuberans. Let's see what happens. And we have a clear winner, which is, of course, lichen sclerosus. Of course, in all the entities mentioned in the differential, there might be fibrosis present. But here we have evident follicular plaques. That's a very strong clue favoring the diagnosis of lichen sclerosus. Almost no vessels. So lichen sclerosus is definitely the most reasonable choice and the correct one.
By the way, this is one of the conditions whose diagnosis has improved dramatically with dermoscopy.
Yeah, helps a lot. It helps
The extragenital lichen sclerosus, very easy now.
Very good. MCA is now leading, followed by terra firma UV and globulo. Case number 4, on the face, a nearly invisible small macula, I would say, on the forehead. Not much clinically, much more dermatoscopically, much more. So I don't say anything. Let's move to the options because it will become more clear when we see the options. Diagnosis. Possibilities are discoid lupus, sarcoidosis, rosacea, and seborrheic dermatitis. You see how nice I'm trying to be.
Yes, you are being.
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be. Let's see.
Because
Let's see.
actinic keratosis would
Actinic
also be
keratosis, of course, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I did not include actinic keratosis in the options, and therefore discoid lupus was the clear winner. Again, follicular plugging, that's the main thing, the strongest, the commonest, and more specific of all the criteria of discoid lupus, at least at an early stage, at an early phase. This case was tricky because clinically it was not as it should be. It was not infiltrated. It was not, at least not visible from a clinical point of view. Obviously, dermatoscopically, the differential is actinic keratosis, as it usually is. And now slow is in the first place, followed by blue and MCA, which brings us to the last case. Two photographs of a man and a woman with small pigmented lesions on the face, both. One is on the nose, the other one is on the ear. That's the clinical. This is dermoscopy of the two lesions. And the question is, how many of these two lesions are malignant? Options are 0, 1, and 2. I hope that we will not destroy the evening.
100%.
We will not destroy the evening.
Inverse approach always works.
Okay, fantastico. None, because in both of them we see a predominant benign clue. On the left, we see sharply demarcated border. On the right, we see reticular lines, a network. Both of them are strong criteria for solar lentigo or flat seborrheic keratosis. Excellent. And now we see the podium for tonight. Third place goes to Slow. Second place goes to Globulo. And first place goes to Treponema. Treponema. That's the Treponema. Exactly. Who is the Treponema?
Pallidum. Pallidum. Sono io, Alberto Schizzi.
Alberto! But Alberto was... let me see, Alberto. I know Alberto.
Alberto, join us.
Sure.
Bravo, Alberto!
Alberto was a winner again, I'm sure.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Don't remember.
Yes, of course.
Bravo,
Of course he was. Very happy to see you tonight. You should call him.
This is my first Kahoot as a dermatologist.
Congratulations.
Nice.
I win as a dermatologist.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Super, congratulations.
It's your first Kahoot as a dermatologist, but it's not your first win. It's
Yes. This year is the first win.
Yeah, but overall, it's second.
Last year you won as well.
And last year, yes, I won. I don't remember, maybe 1 or 2 times.
You are now a specialist of dermatology or a resident? Which one? Specialist or resident?
Now I'm a dermatologist specialist.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
How is life as a dermatologist now? Easier?
Thanks to you, I'm still a resident in my soul.
Bravissimo, Alberto.
Excellent, Alberto. Congratulations.
Go on.
Ευχαριστώ.
Bravo.
Go on.
Εμείς ευχαριστούμε.
Buonanotte. Guys,
Καληνύχτα.
Buonanotte a tutti.
thank you all so much. By the way, today we had a great participation. I saw the numbers
Yeah.
at some point. It was really a big number. Thank you all. See us in 1 week, next Sunday. We love you and we thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.